Hey everyone, still here down in South Texas. This is my last day in this area before heading down to Galveston. About to drop my camera there. Before heading down to Galveston to spend time with my family. So I've had a ton of people asking me, a lot of y'all notice that my kayak is loaded down with rods. I typically will carry 14, 15, 16 rods with me when I'm pre-fishing, and I try to cut that down to 10 to 12. 10 if I can really manage it, depending on where I am. But in all honesty, for a lot of kayakers, that's still a ton of rods. I get that. I just happen to have a lot of rods. I have very technique specific rods, and I have some pretty nitpicky preferences when it comes to that. That being said, some of my absolute best tournaments were when I only brought 4 rods. You would think I would learn from that and apply this to different scenarios, but I don't. So with bringing 4 rods, you're able to really simplify things. A lot of people say that we as anglers will overthink it, overcomplicate it, and that's probably true, but I like having a lot of rods. I like having a lot of rods with me, and if I were only allowed to bring 4 rods with me on the kayak, I wanted to kind of go over what those 4 rods would be. And more importantly, why. So let's get into that. All right, first rod in the lineup. This is a 7.4 heavy fast. This happens to be the St. Croix Legend Tournament rod. I love this rod for so many reasons. This rod helped me win a tournament on Lake Chickamauga, put up almost 100 inches of big Chickamauga bass. I was fishing a 1/2 ounce Texas rig creature bait and about 10 to 12 foot of grass. But this thing is super versatile. Right now, obviously, you can see I've got a swim jig tied onto it. I fish a swim jig on this rod. I fish heavy Texas rig. You can Carolina rig it. You can fish a jig. And again, I might sacrifice a tiny bit of sensitivity here. But again, that's with what I'm using this rod for, I don't necessarily need that. So let's go on to the next one. Okay, 7 foot, medium heavy, moderate fast rod. This is a killer spinnerbait rod. Absolutely love this thing. This helped me win a tournament on Pickwick. This was instrumental. But though it's designed for a spinnerbait, I found that you can use this rod for all kinds of techniques. I throw top waters on this, walking baits, even like pop R's, I'll throw on this rod. Could probably get away throwing a jerkbait on this thing. It's a little bit long for what I like for a jerkbait rod, but I could still get away with it if I only had to bring 4. Also could throw a chatterbait on this rod. I like having more of a parabolic blend when I'm throwing a chatterbait. So again, spinnerbait, top water, chatterbait, jerkbait potentially. Another extremely versatile rod with an action that accommodates a lot of my styles. 7.4, medium heavy, moderate, Legend glass. This is 100% linear S glass. I love this thing. Anything with treble hooks, sign me up. Anything with treble hooks, once you stick this fish, it loads up so nicely. I highly recommend glass rods for a variety of things. Honestly, I do like to throw a chatterbait on glass rods in some situations, but I'll throw all of your crankbait variations. Lipless, square bill. You can obviously throw those bigger 6, 8, 10 XDs on this thing. It's beefy enough to kind of accommodate those. You can also get away with throwing your smaller square bills and lipless crankbaits. Again, not super ideal for those small ones, but if I'm only bringing 4 rods, that's the one I'm bringing. Fits my style a little bit better. Last, certainly not least, everybody's got to have a spinning rod. This is my 610 medium extra fast rod right here. Because of what I had in the other 3, I can get a little bit more finessey, throw light jigs, little swim baits, weightless plastics, light Texas rig, even small top waters, I'll throw on this rod. This thing is an absolute must for a variety of techniques, and it goes on the boat every single time. Again, a lot of possibilities here. I could drop shot with it. I could throw a Ned. I typically like to have more of a medium light rod for those applications, but 4 rods, this is what I'm bringing because of what you're able to do with it. There you have it. So again, guys and gals, every angler has their strengths. the techniques that they prefer to use for how I fish and what suits my style, these 4 rods would probably accommodate about 90% of that. So if I were to downsize, and those of you that have been asking this for a while, for my top 4 rods to bring, right here. These rods have cashed some checks this year. They put a lot of fish in the boat, and I don't go on any body of water without them. If you are curious about my full rod and reel lineup, I can certainly do a video on that, but as you can see, that sun is dropping fast, and I'm about to go inside, whip up a steak, and probably hit the hay pretty early tonight. So let me know if you have any questions, you guys. I'll try to get to answering them in the comments. But have a good night, and we'll see y'all next time.